Unless you're the 300-pound gorilla of your market, you can't offer to solve all the market's problems. If you do, the more nimble chimps will eat your lunch. Your ability to meet a need and solve a problem for the market will be tested, and so case studies and references and testimonials will play a valid role. But that's very late in the journey, and it's largely in the hands of salespeople. Marketing's job should be to find the right buyers, work out which of them is sufficiently troubled about the problem, and to earn the right for salespeople to get in front of those same buyers. But not all problems will serve you well. Some problems will actually be better solved by your competitors than by you. So marketing and sales together need to agree what problem to focus on. And I'm going to show you how to choose the best problem between marketing and sales right now. The first thing we have to acknowledge is that it's a team game. If sales and marketing have a different concept of what the problem should be, the problem that we most want to focus on in the market, it's not such a good thing. Sales is talking about a different thing to what marketing's talking about. We have a different strategy going on. It's not a good place. So we really need marketing and sales, and frankly, R&D and delivery folk, we need all of them to agree what problem we're going to focus on. Out of all of the options that we might consider, we need to think about strength and attractiveness differently. Let me frame it up this way. Imagine for the moment that you are equally amazing at solving all of the problems that you're right now considering to focus on. You're equally good. Which one of them would be more attractive? And separately, then we need to imagine that that each of them is equally attractive, but which of them are we best at solving? These are very different things. Which would be most attractive? Which are we strongest at solving? In a perfect world, we're going to choose a problem that's adequately attractive and we're adequately strong at. But why only one problem? Your salespeople, when they get face-to-face with a prospective customer, they'll honour the uniqueness of that customer's problems. But which kinds of customers faced with which kinds of problems would you ideally want those salespeople in front of in the first place? Because each problem has a different set of buyers most likely to be troubled by it. Each problem has a different solution that would fully solve it. Each problem has a different channel best able to uncover and discuss that problem. And frankly, each problem has a different set of competitors or other ways to solve the problem. In other words, every problem has a different strategy. If you're a big company, then you can probably afford to have multiple strategies at play at any one point in time. But even then, at a plan level, the plan is to deliver the strategy. So for each strategy, you're going to have a plan. So whether you're a large company with many strategies, each with their own plan, or you're a smaller company where you can afford only one strategy executed really well, at a plan level, you still need to have a plan to execute one strategy. One strategy means one problem. Marketing, sales, R&D, operations, they all need to agree the one problem that you're going to focus on. In a moment or two, I'll show you how we do that in Funnel Plan, but first I'm going to do two things. Number one, I'm going to share with you the conclusions, that is what we need to do based on this logic, and then after that, I'm going to invite you to subscribe to Funnel Vision. Let's get to the conclusions first. Start by considering all the factors that make each of the problems attractive. In the 3-day funnel camp, we have a bit of time to wrestle this, and so we look at 5 factors. We look at, for each problem that we're considering, we look at how big is that problem for the overall market? Are there lots of businesses? Is it a deep pain that they'd pay a lot of money for? So the size of the prize, if you like. We look at growth, we look at concentration of competition, we look at profitability, and we look at barriers to entry to determine whether that problem is going to be a protected one where it's really hard to learn how to solve that problem. In the shorter Funnel Mastery workshop, that's just a 1-day workshop, we have a little less time, and so we look just at the issue of pain. Which of those problems cause the most pain for the market? Either way, we're looking at, for each of the problems we're considering focusing on, how attractive would they be if we chose to focus on them? Secondly, we want to look at how good we are at solving each of those problems today. I know that in time you can become great at everything, but how good are you at each of those problems right now? Again, in the funnel camp, we've got 3 days, so we look at 5 factors. We look at how often you've solved the problem before, how much sort of share of the troubled market have you already earned. We look at your USP, the unique selling proposition. How good are you at solving each of those problems? Maybe I'm a little better at solving this problem than this problem. Thirdly, we look at whether the market recognises that unique strength. Fourthly, we look at our cost advantages. Do we have a cost advantage at solving one problem over another? And finally, we look at references. Together they make up strength factors. In the one-day funnel mastery workshop, where we have a little less time, we look just at the overall notion of strength rather than breaking it down that way. Either way, we're trying to determine how good are we today at solving each of those problems. Based then on the attractiveness and our strength, we now want to make a decision between those options and to choose the one that would reward us most richly if we chose to focus on it. Avoid the temptation to look for an aggregated problem. You know, lots of commas and lots of ands does not a good problem make. We want a single problem that's tight, clear, definable, troubling, and memorable, that we can own in the market. A broad encompassing problem is very hard to own. Get your team together, debate each of those factors, however granularly you're going to have that debate, make a decision, and then commit. Choosing the third best option, but absolutely committing to it, is far better than choosing the best option and not committing fully. That's why you need everybody together. Assess each of those strength and attractiveness factors, then choose and commit. And by the way, don't let the numbers make the decision for you. The numbers or the assessments are there to inform your judgment. If we're going to rely on the science to make our decisions for us, the science had better be perfect. It's not. It's really good science, but it's not perfect. In the end, your managers, you have to make a debate, discussion, decision, commitment. Well, if you enjoyed this blog, then hopefully you'd enjoy others that we have to offer. We produce a new blog on video every week and a new textual blog also every week. So if you haven't already, can I invite you to subscribe to receive Funnel Vision. If you go to mathmarketing.com/blog, follow that link, you'll get 2 options when you land there. Firstly, you can subscribe to the Funnel Vision blog, which comes out twice a week. As soon as we produce it, you get it. It's an anonymous subscription, and it's what a lot of people choose to do. The second option is Funnel Vision Monthly. Now, we do ask you for a few more details, but the Funnel Vision Monthly, we then send you all of our content once a month in an editor's grab. You may choose to subscribe to both. You can individually unsubscribe to either of those down the track. But I would encourage you, if you haven't done it already, to subscribe to Funnel Vision blog, either the twice weekly or the once a month blog. How about you do that now? Come back and I'll finish this off for you. I promised you I was going to show you that and how we do that on a funnel plan. Let's do that right now. Firstly, let me give you the context. The problem is such a pivotal decision that we make it immediately after having chosen the objectives. So it sits right up at the top of the funnel plan here, straight after objectives. Ultimately, and I'm going to show you 2 approaches here, but ultimately we're trying to get this bubble chart because the bubble chart helps us make a decision to choose one problem. And that's what we're resolving for, the one problem that would reward you the most richly if you chose to focus on it. Now, in the Funnel Mastery Workshop, I mentioned before that we use just attractiveness. For attractiveness, we look at pain, and for strength, we just ask the general question of strength. In Funnel Camp, it's a lot more granular than that. So either way, we're going to build a bubble chart like the one that you're seeing on your screen right now. To input to that, we get the long list of problems here in the list of problems section. We assess them according to pain and strength. And then in Funnel Mastery, That's the end of the assessment. In the longer funnel camp, we actually rate each of those individually. Let me show you that briefly now. You may already have seen this. So we take multiple users' inputs and we ask them attractiveness, strength and size questions about each problem. What funnel plan will do is it'll take the most input that you give it. If you only give it the pain and strength assessment on those little sliders that we saw before, then it's going to use that and it'll be happy. It'll produce the bubble chart from that. If you've gone a little further and you've added in rating users and you've added in their individual scores, then it'll take the rating user values instead. Whatever you give it, funnel plan is going to take the best that you give it. In the end, it'll produce a table, a little like this one, that has all of the pain and, all of the attractiveness and strength factors, however they were derived, as well as the size, because in the end, the size of the prize does actually matter. And then you make a decision. Again, the decision, as I mentioned before, might be one of those problems, or it might be a new problem that's perhaps derived from those earlier problems. Avoid the temptation to create an aggregate problem that it's the lasso of all of those, unless you really are the gorilla and you can presume to solve all of those problems for the whole market. Take a little minute or two to note why you chose the problem that you did and anything about the debate worth noting. It won't actually present on the funnel plan, but it is worth acknowledging at least any details about maybe there was some dissent and you finally agreed because of these reasons. Take a note in this section here, and then when you click the PDF, that'll produce a funnel plan with all of those factors assessed and produced in this bubble chart to help you choose the one problem. What you do with that problem, in other words your strategy, I'll show you on another day. But for now, may your funnel be full and always flowing.